Yeah.
A very warm good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I wish to warmly welcome you to the 7th edition of Inside the Arena. Today, Inside the Arena is a very distinguished engineer, a first-class graduate of the Department of Mechanical Engineering, University of Maiduguri, who has served the society in various capacities. He once served as chairman of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Damaturu branch, and from the year 2009 to the year 2014, he served as the executive secretary of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. And from 2017 to 2019, he served as the chief of staff to the leader of the Nigerian Senate. And by the special grace of God, today he sits as the executive chairman of the National Assembly Service Commission. It's my pleasure to welcome inside the arena a very distinguished engineer Ahmed, Kadi, Amshi, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers and fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Mechanical Engineers. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Ben.
And for today, I still remain your host, Engineer Ben O.C. Oko, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. We go straight to you, Engineer Amshi. Who is Engineer Ahmed Kadi Amshi?
You have already said who is Engineer Ahmed Kadi Amshi. Maybe I may just have to repeat what you have already said. So Engineer Ahmed Amshi, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Mechanical Engineers, hails from Jakusko local government in Yobe State. Engineer Amshi attended Kaduna Polytechnic here in HND with a distinction and best graduating student of that year. Engineer Amshi attended the University of Maiduguri, where I obtained a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. And I've also attended numerous courses, both within and outside Nigeria, along the professional line. I served the Borno State and Yobe State Civil Service, starting as a people engineer, and grew along the line up to the rank of a permanent secretary. I retired from service in 2008. Thereafter, I got into consultancy activities where I mentored quite a number of engineers, young engineers for that matter. Thereafter, I came in as the executive secretary of the Nigerian Society of Engineers from 2009 to 2014. After that, I got back into my consultancy again. While I was doing that consultancy activity, that the then Senate leader, now the President of Senate, Dr. Ahmed invited me to serve him as his chief of staff while he was the leader of the Senate, of the Nigerian Senate. I served him for 2 years up to the time of the election in 2019. And thereafter, by grace of God, I was appointed as the chairman of National Assembly Service Commission on the 26th of February 2020, a position I'm holding up till now, and it is a 5-year tenure. We have just completed 2 years of the 5-year tenure. So this is where we are for now, a family man, of course, and still participating in activities of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. So I think
why did you study mechanical engineering?
Well, I studied mechanical engineering right from the onset. I started right from the secondary school level. I've been in the technical field. I went to a technical college in Kano. And while I was in technical college, I picked mechanical engineering. And I found interest in it, passion in it, and I continued with it up to the graduate level. So it was more of a passion, actually, more of a passion.
You hold a first class in mechanical engineering. Ordinarily, one would expect that someone with a first class would end up in the four walls of the university as a lecturer. But that was not the case for you. Why did you choose a different route?
Okay, that's a very good question. After my HND, I immediately started work with the government. So I went into this university as an in-service student, and I signed a bond that after the studies, I must come back and continue with work. So when I came back to the ministry to continue with the service, of course, I remember even at the Kaduna Polytechnic level, I was invited to be sponsored by the Kaduna Polytechnic to go and further my education and to come back and teach at the Kaduna Polytechnic. But that too, I felt I was not comfortable with it. But that of the university level, I was already a very senior officer in the civil service. And I signed a bond that I should come and continue with that service. So Providence has it that I wouldn't be in the academic field. But actually, I've been invited on several occasions to come back to the university, to take up academic line because of my performances in the academics. But then the Providence has it that I have to serve the civil service. I think that's why I was not in the academics. But that is not to say I've completely detached myself from the academics. I had taken a lot of part-time courses, both at the Polytechnic and the university. And I think I will not say I've been completely divorced from the academic side. Till today, I remember the dean of the Faculty of Engineering, University of Madrid, has been asking me, come and help us. Come and give us some industrial background. But I said, no, I think I've reached a stage that I cannot come back to the academics for now. So I think that's how it is.
Well, I wouldn't say it was out of, because the peak of the peak of the civil service career is permanent secretary, and when it is university, it is a professor. So you also reached your peak in your chosen field. So I think in the other way around, you still achieved what you would have achieved if you were in the university. Now, let me ask you, after you left service as you retired as a permanent secretary, Manpower Development, Yobe State Government, did you ever imagine you would be called back to service again? Did it ever occur to you that after leaving service, you will be called to serve again in various capacities in your lifetime?
I think two things here. The first one was even my call to come and service the NSC. It has never occurred to me. I was just in Denmark. I've already started my consultancy work, as I've told you. I was engaged by an EU program in water, and it was a water and sanitation program as a consultant. And I was being paid in euro as at that time. I was finding it very comfortable, and I never thought that I will abandon that assignment and get back into some office activity. But suddenly I was called that there is this vacancy for the executive secretary of the NSC, and they wanted an administrator who can put the place in shape. And I felt that engineering has done so much for me that I could not turn down that offer. So I have to accept the offer to come and serve as the executive secretary of the NSC, abandoning my EU contract just to serve the society. And I thought after that one, I would just come and relax and continue with my consultancy in the office, visiting the sites occasionally. But suddenly, I was called by the leader of the Senate, said, please come help me with this administrative work here. And I couldn't have said no. A person of that caliber to tell that, please come and help me to do this assignment together, I felt I should oblige. So I came back to him, we worked together, and he felt that I should come and handle this assignment as the chairman of the commission for him. And we all say it's just God's grace, just God's providence. But I thought by now I'll just be at home relaxing.
Talking about your stay in the NSC as executive secretary, your tenure cut across the tenure of 4 presidents: Engineer Ali, Kashim, Engineer Olumuyiwalade Ajibola, Engineer Mustafa Balarabe Shehu, and finally Engineer Ademola Isaac Olorufemi. How can you describe your relationship with these presidents?
Oh, it has been excellent. Each one had his own characteristics. Each one had his own visions for the society, and we worked together very well. Engineer Kashim Ali tried to really reposition the secretariat. We did a lot of work with him to make sure that the secretariat became a place to work, as well-organized corporate entity. And we worked hard along that line with him, and we made sure that the secretariat was professionalized in such a way that you can come in as staff to the Nigerian Society of Engineers and grow to be up to a director. We have put that one in place with him, and that I think I give kudos to Engineer Ali for that one. Engineer Ali has equally tried to revive the divisions to make them more active. And we worked closely with him in that direction, and I think he has achieved a lot in that direction. Engineer Ajibola came in with a vision of professionalizing the divisions. Engineer Ajibola brought the Education Resource Center. His key objective was to make sure that engineers are professionally trained. He tried to bring up that engineering resource center, and Engineer Ajibola has also tried hard to bring the NSC closer to the major industries, especially in the oil and gas sector. That much we have achieved. We have worked so much with him, and he has a great relationship with the oil and gas sector during his tenure. And that one has brought a lot of benefits to the society, both financial and technical and professional. You know, the same engineer, Amshi came in, and he continued from where Engineer Ajibola stopped. I think that is a very good relationship of the president and deputy president. I think that is the best I've seen between Engineer Ajibola and Engineer Amshi continued. He has been part and parcel of the programs of Engineer Ajibola, and he continued from where Engineer Ajibola stopped. I think that is what we actually need in the NSC. That is the purpose of having a deputy president as the president-elect. And I saw that relationship well established between Engineer Ajibola and Engineer Amshi. And Engineer Amshi made sure all programs started by Engineer Ajibola was completed, nothing was abandoned, and that saw to his successful tenure. So Engineer Olorufemi took over from Engineer Amshi, who came with his own visions, more particularly about the scorecard. We worked hard on that to make sure that the public sees the NSC as an organization, a professional organization that can advise the government and on the position of infrastructure in the country. And that much we have successfully achieved, which with a lot of family. So we had excellent working relationship with all the 4 of them. And thank God we have achieved so much with these 4 presidents, so much. Whenever I look back, I feel happy, contented that my 6 years in the NSC has really moved the NSC forward. It has never been stagnant. At every point, whenever one president left, the other one continues, and we have moved the NSC forward at that point. So I always look back and feel happy that within my 6 years tenure as the NSC Executive Secretary, we have really moved.
Okay, now let me, recently, the Nigerian Society of Engineers organized a retreat for ESCO members of the society and also chairman of branches and division, which you were one of the resource persons for that retreat. And speaking during the retreat, a past executive secretary of the society made a case for the office of the executive secretary. He said that past presidents of the society have undermined the office of the executive secretary. Do you subscribe to that assertion?
I think the word shouldn't be undermined. I think it's not the best way.
Or should we say have relegated their office to the background?
Yeah, something like what actually happened, and I think I will throw more light on that. Ordinarily, the arrangement of the NSA is that the president is more or less a part-time president. It's not supposed to be a full-time president. Sets the council says the policies, the ESCO looks at the implementation of the policies, and the secretariat executes them. Now, most instances, it came to a point where the ESCO in general, not only the president this time around, the ESCO in general tends to interfere with the activities of the secretariat. They tend to go beyond overseeing the activities of the secretariat up to the implementation level, which was not proper for the setup. I think that was the issue. It's not the issue of undermining. And the presidents also felt that they needed more of their presidents to be in the secretariat for effective operation, which I felt shouldn't have been. If the secretariat, as the way we will organize the secretariat then, if the system has been maintained, it would have been a situation where even the president may not even need to come to the secretariat. Maybe you may come either monthly or bi-monthly. You'll be able to do so. The secretary should be capable to handle all the policies.
Okay, let me ask you this direct question, sir. As the executive secretary of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, was there any occasion when your office as the executive secretary was relegated to the background by a sitting president?
No, when I was there, it wasn't. It was never. Because the executive secretary is supposed to be a guide to the ESCO. He draws their attention whenever they tend to exceed their resources. And I did that. I always drew the attention of the president. Mr. President, this is your limit. Don't exceed your limit. We'll do the work for you. If you think the work is not being done properly, just draw my attention as the executive secretary. I will correct it. There is no need for you to bother yourself. Concentrate on the policies. And I think all the presidents that I worked with understood that. And we worked.
Was there any time you felt like, oh, I think I'm tired of this job. I feel like giving up this work?
Well, you are there to serve the society. You are there to correct wrongs. And if you say you run away from correcting wrongs, then I think you are not a good manager. You should be able to stand and correct bad situations. So even if things were getting wrong, I stood firm, drew the attention of the presidents at the time, and we worked very well. I guided them. They can all attest to that one. Of course, there are different human natures at all instances. Each one of them has various characteristics. Some of them have never worked with the government, and the office procedure, they see it as a very cumbersome. And we have to let them know, if we really want to succeed, we have to go through the structured office procedure. Some of them find it difficult to understand because of their disposition, but we drew their attention and they always saw reason and we moved forward.
Okay, one of your responsibilities as the executive secretary of NSE was to coordinate the affairs of the society secretariats through prudent management of human and material resources. What strategy did you employ in the actualization of this, such that after 8 years of leaving the office as executive secretary, your name still resonates as one of the best executive secretary the society has produced?
always obey down rules and regulations. Once you go by the rules, I think things will be very easy for you. The society has set rules of operations, which we have developed along the line. And once you go by them, if they are your guiding principles, you will have no problem.
Okay. Another responsibility you had was to facilitate the formulation of policies and the programs in furtherance of the aims and objectives of the society. What policy or programs were your major achievement as Executive Secretary?
Well, the NSC has about, then there were 24 objects of the society. By the review of the MEMAT in December 2019, it has now risen to 26. Now we try to look at these objects of the society and try to focus on each one of them, depending on their priorities, on their impact on the society. So we looked at all the 24 objects of the society. We picked them one after the other, and each one we
Okay.
Engineer Amshi is muted now, so he has to unmute.
Okay, sir, please, can you unmute your... Okay, can you unmute yourself?
Okay.
Can you unmute the... Okay.
Okay, go on.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, okay. Okay, go on.
All right, we lost you earlier, but let me also, another responsibility you had as...
Are we back?
Yes, we are back.
Okay, good.
Another responsibility you had as Executive Secretary was to ensure that the provision of the MEMAT of the society, the provisions are adhered to, advise the President, the Executive Council, the Executive Committee on how to actualize the society's objectives. What were your major challenges in this area?
Well, I think one of the major challenges we face, most of the activities require funds. Most of the activities that we have to carry out to really meet up with the objectives of the society required funding. And unfortunately, funding was not much forthcoming. You know very well about the issues of payment of dues by members. So my first approach was to see how to generate interest of members so that they'll be able to be paying their dues. And from 10%, we rose about 40, 50% of members paying their dues. And that has helped a lot. And that happened by generating interest of members. We tried to make the society and the secretariat in particular a place that every member would be happy to be there. We tried to be very friendly. We created a sense of humility. We have tried to train our staff to be cautious of our civil engineers. We tried to be humane and friendly with practically all the branch chairmen. I personally was able to visit all all the branches of the Nigerian Society of Engineers within my tenure as the executive secretary. All. And that brought a great rapport. And people started to develop interest in the activities of the society. It's reaching. You reach to the people. Tell them what you are doing. Tell them why they should belong as members. And I think that has helped us a lot in raising funds to be able to meet up with the aims and objectives of the society. And I think that I always see it as a great achievement. People have developed interest in the society since we came in up to now. I think, and that has been sustained. Well, our membership was about 30,000. We are now talking about 100,000. And I think that is a great achievement. We moved the membership of the society from 24,000 as the time I made it to almost 60,000. And that was because of the interest that we generated. So people became interested in the activities of the society. People start to feel that they wanted to belong. I think that has helped us a lot.
Many Nigerians have this perception about National Assembly members that they don't do anything. In fact, that has led to calls by many Nigerians, even that we should run a unicameral kind of legislature, and because they believe that, in fact, the president was one time quoted to have said that was the work of the National Assembly. What was your perception of legislators before you became chief of staff to the leader of the Senate? Did you have that kind of similar perception?
Yes. I equally had the same perception. But when you get in there, you find that things are completely different. Completely different. In fact, the National Assembly has a lot to do. For me, they are not doing even up to half of what they're supposed to do. There are a lot of things to do. When you get in there, you see the volume of activities happening in the National Assembly. You see what is expected from each member. Unfortunately,
okay, continue, sir.
Unfortunately, even the society itself is not allowing them to perform their activities very well. Come to the issue of the funding of the National Assembly. I'm sure you will go to that question, but let me answer it in advance. People have a very wrong perception about the funding of the National Assembly. People feel that the legislators, when the budget is made, the legislators just share the money. It's not like that. Even the secretarial activities alone of the National Assembly, the budget of the National Assembly is not enough to cope with it, let alone the real legislative processes. The entire budget of the National Assembly is not more than 1% of the entire national budget. 1%. So, but when people hear National Assembly is getting 113 billion naira per annum, they just divide 130 by the number of legislators, and I think each legislator pockets that. Even the running, just the maintenance cost of the infrastructure in the National Assembly, if you have to really equate it, is beyond the budget of the National Assembly, let alone the other administrative positions. Staff alone, there are about 7,000 staff. We have more than 3,000 permanent staff and about 4,000 legislative aides who are supposed to be the inputs, who are supposed to be the research officers of the legislators. They're supposed to go to the field and make research and bring that to the legislators. This is what your community, this is what your constituency wants. This is what your constituency wants. This is what, then they come about with policies, with bills, and with so many other things that are required for legislative activities. That alone costs a lot of money. But when you are outside, you don't see all these things, and the perception is actually, and the National Assembly itself, I think it needs to up its publicity, image-making environment. They are not talking to people. They are not giving information about what is happening in the National Assembly to the public. So I think that is an area where we are working on to see that the media outfit of the National Assembly becomes up and running so that they can give a true picture to the generality of Nigerians of what actually is happening in the National Assembly. I think that is what is lacking. That is where people are having that wrong perception.
All right. So in essence, your perception of the National Assembly entirely changed after you served.
When I got in, I saw really what was happening there, and I knew that things are really happening there, and Nigerians need to know what it's
okay. All right. So now there's another perception, and this one concerns you. Nigerians have at present. They believe that there's a general belief by Nigerians that those who run the show in the country now, if I have to use that word, are graduates of University of Maiduguri, and that they have a systematic way of positioning themselves in very good positions. Like, for instance, we have 8 serving governors. 8 serving governors in this present dispensation are all graduates of University of Maiduguri, the likes of Zulum, Okeze, Bazo of Abia State, Bala, Mohammed, Bello of Niger, name them. We have the Senate president or president of the Senate, a graduate. We have the NNPC group managing director, a graduate of University of Maiduguri, Kashim Shetty, many senators, uncountable. And we have the former chief of army staff, many of them. Is that true? And also, are you a beneficiary of that system?
No, I think that is a wrong perception completely. At the time, we had the Barewa College from Zaria. We had so many, about 5 presidents from Barewa College. At that time, it was Barewa College that was renamed. Then, would you say that it was a clique that made that one? No. It was because Barewa College then was one of the best institutions in the country. Then we moved to the ABU. At the time, it was ABU. Wherever you went, it was ABU. Wherever you went, it was ABU. You wouldn't say it was a clique that made everybody from ABU to do that. It is now time of the University of Maiduguri. They tried to excel. They tried to make sure that the university excelled. You know, it is in that process that you find their products all over. But I don't think there is any of such a thing existing. It doesn't exist. It's just imaginations.
Should I say is a mere coincidence, or you can put it the other way around? For those who want to be religious about it, we say is a function of divine providence.
No, I think it's more of the excellence being offered by the university. I put it in that way. University,
more of excellence.
More of excellence.
In line with the motto of the university, which says knowledge is life.
Exactly.
All right, we leave that for now. And for those who are still joining us, we are inside the arena, season 7, and with us today is a very distinguished engineer, a first-class graduate of the Department of Mechanical Engineering, University of Maiduguri, past executive secretary of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, who also retired as a permanent secretary in the Yobe State Civil Service, and he served when he left the Nigerian Society of Engineers as the chief of staff to the leader of the Senate, who today is the president of the Senate. And today, by the special grace of God, he is the executive chairman of the National Assembly Service Commission, Engineer Ahmed, Kadi, Amshi, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Now, let me take you back to 3rd of October, 2019. On that day, the cream of the society converged on the executive hall of the International Conference Center, Abuja, for a book launch. The title of the book is Engineering and Sustainable Rural Development in Nigeria. And the book was written by, in fact, I have my own copy in my hand. The book was written or was authored by you. I want you to, tell us what inspired you to write that book.
Thank you very much. For those who have attended that occasion, I think they will have known why I have written the book. And thank God you are the director of programs in that. And you saw what it is all about. And it was a great moment in my life. It was a great moment, one, for me to have completed writing the book, and two, for the attendance in that book launch. I think nobody was left. I felt so honored that such cream of the society will attend that book launch. We had 3 governors present. We had the president of the Senate himself present. The Royal Highness from my own locality came all the way from Yobe to grace that occasion. I think that is one of the greatest honors I've had in life. I've received a lot of honors, both academic and professional, but I think that was a peak for me. For my own royal father to have left his domain to come to grace this occasion, I think I feel highly honored from that. And all the governors that attended that occasion, I think they have honored me so much in that. Now, coming to your question, what made me write the book? Rural development is engineering. Completely is engineering. I felt it was necessary to draw the attention of engineers that we need to wake up in our responsibility. It is our responsibility as engineers to develop this country. And the development of this country should not be limited to the cities. Everything is now concentrated in the cities in such a manner that the cities are now overstretched. All the facilities in the cities are overstretched, while the rural community is there yearning for these facilities. What are we doing as engineers to see that we improve the standard of living of the rural community? I felt it was important that I drew the attention of engineers to that. And not only of engineers, but also even the policymakers. Why are we neglecting the rural areas? As I mentioned during the book launch, whenever I go to the countryside, I feel like shedding tears. Why are we neglecting these people? Are they not human beings? These are people who produce us. These are parents who born us. These are parents who helped us through thick and thin to study and become what we are. But suddenly we neglect them. We concentrate all development in the city. And in fact, everybody is now rushing the city. The cities are overstretched. The facilities are overstretched. Why not extend these developments to the rural areas such that a minimum standard of living would be obtained for every community? I think that was the key thing that really made me to write the book. And secondly, I thought there are so many things that engineers need to know. They are not aware of. They are not made public. We have so many laws, we have so many regulations that are supposed to guide engineering, but most of our engineers are not aware of them. And I felt I should compile them in the form of a book, a handbook sort of a thing, so that engineers can read and know their responsibilities to the community and to their country at large. I think these were the guiding principles, actually.
Wow. Now, coming back to, I know you'll be waiting for me there. On 25th of February 2020, President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated you as the executive chairman of the National Assembly Service Commission. Did that appointment come to you as a surprise?
It did, because I never expected it. I was thinking after Ahmed as the leader of the Senate, I'll just go and continue with my consultancy activities. Just went, started, then suddenly he called me that this is what he's looking for. I said, fine, I'm always ready to assist you wherever you want me to help. And 2 weeks later, I just had my name being mentioned in the radio, that my name has been submitted to. Let me tell you this thing. That particular day that announcement was made, I was in Abakaliki attending to a foreign accreditation exercise.
Wow.
I was attending to a foreign accreditation exercise at the Federal University there. The middle of that assignment when we had in fact, one of my colleagues that were carrying out the program together had it over the news. Like he had my name in something. I said, me? He said, yes. I said, okay, let's just wait for the news. And suddenly my phone started ringing. Congratulations. I said, for what? And they were telling me that this is what happened. Should I abandon the exercise I was doing? I said, no, I have to complete. This is also a national assignment. I had to complete this assignment before I came back. And that was in December 2019. I was in the middle of an engineering activity when that appointment came. So I was really surprised. And my colleagues helped me, prayed for me. We completed the assignment. We came back and then faced the screening exercise. So it's something that I never thought of. I never thought of actually.
The commission, among others, oversees the affairs of the National Assembly Service Commission, appointment, promotion, and discipline of staff of the National Assembly Service. Also, they ensure that there is a well-trained and motivated workforce that will provide support and expertise to the National Assembly with the view of meeting the challenges for good legislation for the democratic governance. What kind of relationship exists between the leadership of the National Assembly and your commission? Do they influence your mandate as a commission?
Oh, that's a very good one. Now, first and foremost, National Assembly leadership is the supervising ministry, if I can say so. It's just like the minister supervising the agencies under him. So it's the leadership of the National Assembly that supervises us. They are our parent organization, parent ministry, if I can say so, just to relate it to what is happening in the executive side. Beyond that, the commission has an act which clearly spells out its mandates. And it is clearly spelled out in the act that the affairs of the commission are never to be interfered by anybody, not even by the president of the country. That has been clearly entrenched in our act. So we don't have any interference from the leadership of the National Assembly. Of course, naturally, when you are handling some things, you have to consult them as your parent organization. You have to inform them of what is going on. You have to give them a quarterly report of what you are doing. But for them to interfere in our decisions, they don't do that. They set the laws, and they know their limits as far as the operation of the commission is concerned.
Who is responsible for the employment of legislative aides and their wages?
That's a very good question. Legislative aides are being recommended by the leadership of every member, every senator, every House of Representatives member is entitled to 5 legislative aides. 5, each of various cadre, starting from principal legislative aides up to a secretary, 5 of them of various grades. The legislators, on assumption of duty, recommend who they want to be the legislative aides. We interview them. We have a set down criteria. You cannot just go and bring maybe a vulcanizer and say you want him to be a legislative. No, we have a minimum standard set for every person to be a legislative aide. So when they come in, every senator, every member of House of Representatives bring his list of 5 legislative aides. We will interview them, screen them. If we find them suitable, we offer them temporary appointment for 4 years for that period that they're to serve with the legislative aid. If you submit 5 and we interview, we find that 1 or 2 have not met up the requirement, we'll advise the legislator These two have not met our requirements, please replace them. And they do that because of the standard we have. Once we engage them, their payment allowances are now paid by the management of the National Assembly. The clerk of National
Directly
Assembly,
to the aides?
No, yes, directly to the yes, directly to the yes. Some few years ago, although some few years ago, that the money used to be paid to the legislators and the legislators paid their aides. But this, I think about 5 years ago, has been reversed, which is we found out that monies at times don't reach the aides, and we wouldn't have control on the aides if they just get even though they are temporary employees, they're also public servants by the disposition. So they have to abide by the rules and regulations of the public service as a temporary employee. So it was found out that as they were being paid, some of them don't even come to work. Some of them don't even know where the offices are. But I think some few years ago, this was changed and they were being paid directly by the management of the every legislative aid. And we monitor by that gives us now the opportunity to monitor them. We know exactly how they are performing. So no money is being paid to the legislator for the legislative aid. It's paid directly to them, just as every other public servant. So
I think that's the best option, because we've had cases where many of the aides have complained that when these monies are paid to these legislators, it doesn't really get to them, and you see them sometimes demonstrating. I think that's a very good step in a good direction.
That has been discarded quite a few years back.
All right, thank you. Now, let me ask, what legacy would you want to, or what are the legacies you would want to leave in office when you
You have said it. Our purpose here is to have a well-trained, well-disciplined, and well-motivated service for the National Assembly service, so that the legislators shouldn't bother themselves with the staff matters. They will have qualified staff to deal with the activities. You may be surprised that the activities in the National Assembly service are not abound anywhere. The schemes are completely different from what you have in the normal civil service cycle. There are so many activities that you don't find in the normal civil service scheme. So we have to train specialists on that area, legal drafting, legislative drafting, chamber activity, so many of them that you need specialists to be able to handle them. Let me tell you, and you need to understand that chamber staff work for almost 24 hours. Our staff that are operating in the chambers. You finish the business of the day, and you expect by 9 o'clock the proceedings for that day are ready for the leadership to go through and for it to be taken up the following morning. So they have to work 24 hours. Our chamber staff work 24 hours to be able to meet up with the legislative process.
After your tenure as the chairman, what next?
Only God knows. but I need to rest. I think I need to rest.
We sincerely have to commend you, because you are one man whose legacies of public service cannot be, disputed. Anything that is handed over to you, you always want to handle it judiciously and leave a lasting impression. And we now go to your private life as we wind up this segment of this program. What's your hobby? What do you always do at your free time?
Oh, okay. I have 3 major hobbies. One is tennis. I play tennis so much, but of recent, maybe in the last 2-3 years, I have reduced that much because the body was no longer sustaining it. Start having aches on all joints. So I still do it, but mildly, actually, not as much. But tennis has been my major hobby. I've been the chairman of the tennis association in Yobe State for nearly over 20 years. And, here in Abuja, I've been a member of the Mandela Army Officers Mess Tennis Club. I've been there since I came to Abuja. But and I follow up tennis. I'm a real tennis addict. You have been even a champion in the NSC. I think for 2 years running, I've been the champion in Nigeria Society of Engineers engineering games. I've won so many awards as the tennis champion in the NSC. That much I'm sure you are aware of. So yes. Tennis has been my major hobby actually. I still enjoy it, even though I don't play it any longer much, but I still watch tennis over the telly. I visit where matches are taking place within Abuja. So I'm a tennis addict. That's one. Two, I also have the hobby of birds. I keep birds. I like birds so much. I like birds, and then well, it's a bit difficult now. In Abuja, you cannot keep birds even because of the environment. But in my hometown, I keep a lot of. I enjoy birds, and I think these are my two major hobbies. And the third one is gardening. I like gardening. I do a lot of gardening at home gardening, even up to the large scale level. So I like gardening also. Out of all the farming activities, I think I enjoyed gardening most. So these are my three major hobbies. Actually.
As we wrap up, what is your advice for young engineers? And also, what is your advice for the Nigerian Society of Engineers?
Okay, to young engineers, and one major thing I think they need to grow up with is honesty. As an engineer, you must be honest. You must have a high level of integrity. You must not joke with your professional ethics. Once you start dealing with that, then you lose your all are expected to be. Are we okay?
Yeah, continue, sir.
Okay, all engineers are expected to be honest, high integrity, and maintain high standard of ethics in all their activities. That is my major advice to young engineers. Of course, to the NSC in general, we need to be proactive. There are a lot of things are yet to be done as contained in our aims and objectives. And I think we need to carry them along. We need to improve our visibility. We need to talk to the government. I've always been saying this. Our divisions are supposed to be up and doing. Let them feed the headquarters of the NSC with information with data about the happenings about their disciplines in the society, such that the Nigerian Society of Engineers headquarters will continuously be talking to the public in that direction. So let's divisions go beyond ceremonial activities and concentrate on key professional activities, while the branches can do those ceremonial activities on our behalf. I think this is a major.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ahmed Kadi Amshi. Honestly, it has been a wonderful time with you. We have 3 segments of this program. The first is what we call the direct free kick segment, where the host will ask the guests the questions. And the second segment of it is what we call the corner kick. The corner kick is when we open the platform for the participants to ask questions. The participants will ask you questions, you will respond. But we have a rule in the corner kick. If a participant asks any question that we feel has gone beyond the bounds of propriety, the host has the right to flag it as an offside. And once it is flagged as an offside, that means that the guest is exonerated from answering the question. And the last segment of the program is what we call the extra time. The extra time is the time we award prizes. We ask questions from some of the questions we have asked you today. And the first participant to type in he will send it through the chat box. The first person to send in the correct answer. And once you confirm that is the correct answer, the person automatically wins the prize. And we have today a very beautiful printer, HP printer, and a smartwatch. A smartwatch. These two gifts are courtesy of Engineer Ahmed, Kadi, Amshi. We thank you, sir, for providing this beautiful gift which somebody is going to win today. Now we go straight to the corner kick segment, and we are going to open the floor for people to ask questions. I can see the first hand, Engineer Adolu Odushote is the first person that has raised his hand. We are going to ask him to unmute, and then he will ask his question. Engineer Odushote, please, can you ask your question?
Engineer Amshi, let me congratulate you for the outing today. You didn't disappoint at all. And congrats to Engineer Benoko for this wonderful time on the interactions on this program. I wish more engineers are here actually, but I'm sure that those who have been here today are blessed. Now I want to ask you, Engineer Amshi, you have strongly put your feet on two key sides of the Nigerian life that concerns engineers. As the Executive Secretary of Nigerian Society of Engineers, we've talked about 6 years that you mentioned so well, that you contributed to, and very significantly to. And right now you're contributing so much also in the Assembly through the Assemblies Commission. I want to ask you, putting these two experiences together, what would be your advice to the Nigerian engineers regarding the most crucial part that we're in right now about nation building, particularly when you want to consider that we have talked so much before now, and all that is remaining is action. And you may want to look at this question from any part. Is it that they get into the assembly itself as honorable members, senators, or is it that they'll be able to work in some way, making sure that laws are enacted and all that? I'd like you to give your advice to the Nigerian engineer. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, my dear brother, him and I. I think I've almost answered the question by yourself, because two things. One, we have to participate. We are too much on the sideline, too much, especially in the political angle. When we get to the National Assembly, we have very, very few engineers there, very, very few. And unless you are there, unless you are in the political cycle, you can never influence anything. You will never. So we just have to be there. And whenever our members try, unfortunately, we don't support them. While I was the executive secretary, I think we evolved a policy that whenever our member was participating in any political, any elective position, regardless of the political party, let's support him. And we have tried to raise some little funds, both from the society and also from individuals, and we supported a few members. Some of them were successful, some of them were not successful, but even those who were not successful, they felt so proud of the NSC. They felt so proud that NSC can remember them. And even after that, those who won, we went extra mile and congratulated them publicly and showed to them that we are solidly behind them, regardless of their political parties, political affiliations. And that has helped us a lot to bring us closer to a few engineers who are really participating in the political arena. And we need more of such. And NSC needs to continue with that policy. That will help us a lot. And on our own side, for those who are outside the NSC itself, we need to be vigilant. We need to work. We need to watch. We need to see what is happening in the society. We need to talk. The economy is dwindling. What do we do as engineers? Well, let's make a public statement. Unemployment is there. Let's make a public statement. And if the government doesn't listen, I think we'll be judged. The history will judge that we have spoken. But for us to keep quiet as engineers and things are going on wrong in the country, things are dwindling, we need to offer advice. We have now branches even abroad or outside the country. This one should be able to help us with ideas. How did the others achieve them? They will tell us this is what happened in such place, and this is why they were able to overcome it. Let's use our diaspora members, let them help us, give us ideas on how their own communities were able to achieve, and they will be able to tell the government. But for us to just keep quiet and not be saying much, I think that is not helping the country. So from both sides, I think we need to be proactive. We need to be proactive to be participating in the political arena. And we equally need to be proactive from the professional side, so that let's be given ideas based on facts. Let's be talking to the government with our facts. And I'm sure they will listen if we keep on talking. I think this is my advice on these two sides of the coin. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. I think we take the next two people who have raised their hands. You can now respond together. Engineer Patrick Mosibe. Then after that, we have Engineer Kunle Adebajo. Engineer Patrick, please, can you unmute?
Okay, thank you so much, Engineer Ben Osioko, FNSC. I want to congratulate.
Hello, Engineer Patrick.
Hello, sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Go on, go on.
Oh, okay, I want to congratulate you, our father, Engineer Ahmed, for FNSC for this section. It was quite revealing and quite deep. And I want to also congratulate my good friend, Engineer Ben Okosi, for anchoring this program. Sir, my question to you is, your training as a mechanical engineer is much of a technical field, which we all know. But looking at the work you're doing now, is more of a management job. As the chairman of National Assembly Service Commission, you've talked about how you hire, train people, and every other underground work that is done there to make sure that the National Assembly runs smoothly. So what I want you to please highlight on, sir, is, are they, in course of your practice as a mechanical engineer, are there trainings that you went through, you know, that enabled you or prepared you to discharge the job you're doing now effectively? Because you kept mentioning throughout the answer question section that each time you want to go home and rest, the government, people will still fish you out again and give you another job or another opportunity to serve. So I want you please to, because I don't want to just count on luck. Are there trainings or other things you did to prepare yourself for this level? Thank you, sir.
Okay, Engineer Kunle, we will take also Engineer Kunle Adebajo so that our...
Why don't I answer this one first and then we take Engineer
Okay,
Kunle.
okay, all right.
Let's this one, because it's a very important question Engineer Patrick has raised. Engineer Patrick, I thank you very much. I think you have been on for a very long time. I've been seeing your name flicking, so well done for keeping on.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, you raised a very important question. I really, besides my training as a mechanical engineer, I did a lot of other management trainings. First and foremost, I have a master's degree in public administration. I think that is one. Two, I attended a good governance course in Thames Valley University in London for 6 months.
Okay, sir.
I attended a management course in Ascon Administrative College of Nigeria in Lagos, Badagry, for a very long time. All these are management courses that have really prepared me for management and administrative courses. Besides these ones, in the civil service that I was, for you to reach the position of a permanent secretary, you must have attended at least 3 managerial courses, and you have to sit a management examination course before you are appointed a permanent secretary. And all this have really equipped me to all these administrative processes. I think this is what has really helped me to be able to manage the NSC very well. This has also helped me to really manage the office of the chief leader of the Senate very well. And by God's grace, we are applying the same principles here where I'm serving, and we are moving on well by God's grace. So I've attended a series of management courses, both within and outside the country, up to the master's degree level. And I think this really have equipped me for all these activities. So I think, thank you very much for that. And I always encourage our engineers not only to limit their knowledge to the engineering alone. You should be able to also equip yourself with managerial skills. And you can only get that by attending the relevant courses, trainings, so on and so forth. Thank you very much, Engineer Patrick.
Thank you, sir.
Engineer Kule can come in, my very good brother.
Yes, thank you very much indeed, my dear brother. I've really enjoyed. I think I've missed you. So this session is like getting back. Yes. So I want to say thank you very much indeed for this session. Following through from the last question, I think it's very clear. I've had the honor of working with you at some stage, and I know that what the last question didn't say was that many engineers lack certain skills of both administration and communication. And I think, you know, a lot of those are well embodied in you. You've been able to chart another course other than just the technical engineering. And that's really to your credit. But before you feel so good, I want to ask my question. And that is, the Nigerian Society of Engineers as a body continues, and we thank God for it. You described how it moves on, but there is definitely a lot of this school of thought that there's a lot that could be improved to really make it, you know, what it's meant to be, and deviate a bit more from the jamboree style and the election. So if we were to give you the opportunity to go back there for for even 1 week and just have a free reign, what are the things that you would do to really make a difference? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Kule. We have worked very much with you while I was the Executive Secretary, and I take this opportunity to thank you very much for the support you have given us. We have always relied on you. We have called on you on several technical issues pertaining to the activities of the society, and you really did answer our calls at any time, at every point. And I think I need to thank you for that. And I would take this opportunity to let the public know that Engineer Kule is one of the finest structural engineers we have in this country. And he has given us a tremendous support to the Nigerian Society of Engineers. We always fell back to him whenever we needed a technical advice concerning issues related to structural engineering and civil engineering in general. And this is what we require from our members. And to answer your question, I think if I would get the opportunity to go back there, we will fish more, pull less in the Nigerian society and bring them together and see how we'll move the society forward. We need the professional outing. As I just mentioned in the beginning of the program, the divisions have to be up and doing. It is divisions that will now feed the headquarters with information, with data, what is happening in the structural sector in the country, what is happening in the mining sector, what is happening in all the sectors, ICT, telecom, everything. We need to, the divisions have to feed the NSC headquarters with this information so that the president can talk on behalf of the society, give advice to the government, give advice to Nigeria generally on all issues relating to the respective disciplines of the society. And I think if I can get the opportunity, as I've said, I bring together all the coolest we have in this country, and let's chart a course for this country. I think that's what I'll do, if given the opportunity again, for a minimum of, even if it is for 1 week. We need to do that. We need to bring our experts together and chart a course in developing this country.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ahmed, Kadi, Amshi. I know if we give much time, many people may want to ask more questions. We really want to appreciate you for finding time, even with your busy schedule, to be part of this program today.
I can see one last hand. I give him opportunity.
Okay, we take Razak Dada. Razak Dada, please unmute your mic so we can take you, then we wrap it up for today.
Okay. Yes. So good evening, sir, and thanks for the presentation. And my question is that during your time as the executive secretary, how do you relate with other professional bodies like maybe Nigerian Institute of Management and other, and which organization is more supportive and more ready to collaborate with NSC during your 6 years?
Yes, you have raised a very, very important point. While I was there as the executive secretary, I think we did two things that worth reckoning. One is that we brought all the professional bodies within the built industry together to the headquarters of the NSC. We sat down together and we agreed firmly to work together instead of each organization doing its own business. The quantity surveyors came. You remember the issues between the NSC and the quantity surveyors. At that point, this issue was resolved. The builders came, the architects came, all the professionals in the built industry, we came together and formed a formidable team that we will be talking to the government with one voice. I think it was in one of those gatherings that we agreed to come up with a common piece of professional practice that is acceptable to all the professions. And that has really helped us. All the bickers within the professions, within the built industry were over. I don't know if that has been continued by now or not. And that has really put us in a very good pedestal. We closely worked with them at that time. The second one, I would like to let you know that the APBN, the Association of Professional Bodies of Nigeria, that is now encompassing all the professional bodies. At the time, the participation of NS was really going low. We agreed that if we really want to be part and parcel of the professional bodies in Nigeria, we must be participating in that. So we reactivated our participation in that body. We made sure the first NSC president that was president of the APBN was engineer Dr. Shonobi. We said that is not enough. We must have engineers to participate there. We worked hard and made sure that we saw Engineer Ajibal as one time as the president of the APPN. Until today, that one I can be sure of. NSC is firmly participating in the APPN activities, and we stand to gain a lot as professional bodies. we talk to the government with a single voice when it involves all the professions. That one encompasses all the professions. The surveyors are there, all the professions, even the management institute that they are talking about, were part of that institute, that body. So I think that really helped us. So I think these are the two key areas that we have really collaborated with other professional bodies to be able to work together. So thank you very much for your question.
Thank you very much. And we say a very big thank you to you once again, Engineer Ahmed Kadi Amshi, for being our host in today's event. We are going to go to the last lap of this program, and that is the extra time. We are going to ask a question, and the first person to get the question correctly, these are the rules. You are going to get the question, the spellings correctly, and you are going to send the answers correctly. Now, the question is this. Engineer Amshi served 4 presidents of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. We give us the surnames, only the surnames of these 4 presidents in the order of their seniority, in the order of their service. He served 4 presidents of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Give us the 4 names of these presidents in the order of their service. Only the surnames in the order of their service. That's seniority in service. The first to send in the answer, only the surnames, we get the answer. So answers have started coming in. So the person that conforms to the answer according to the surnames and years of seniority, only the surnames gets the answer, gets the gift.
Tunde Olatunji is there already.
Let me see. I think the person I'm seeing is Consilia Amaka. The first person to send got it, but he didn't follow the rules. We say only the surname. He wrote, that's a Sonny Barre, wrote, put engineer. The person that conformed to the rule, Consilia Ali Ajibola Shehu Olorunfemi. We also had Moji also got it but didn't conform to the rules. She put engineer. I think we have also another person, Adolu Odushote, got it according to the rules, but he came behind somebody else. I think, our chairman, sir, you have to confirm from your own end the person that got it first, but in line with our rules of only the surnames.
From my own end, Engineer, who was that one? Tunde Olatunji, I think, was the first to get it correctly.
I can't even see him.
But I saw him, Tunde Olatunji, he was
no,
first.
He is not the first, sir. He is far below others. You can scroll up. You can scroll up. There are about 8 or 10 people before him. I think if you scroll up from what I have here, the people that got the correct answers or the sent in answers.
Okay, read it. Maybe I'll confirm.
We have our Sonny Barre first, but he didn't conform to the rules. Consilia got the first answer. We had Mojirat. We have Adolu Odushote also, the second person to conform to the answer. We have Osuala also, but he didn't get the last name of Olorufemi, he put his first name. He put Ademo, and then Engineer Kunle Adebajo also got the right order.
Ben, why are you calling all these people? One person has won already. Just mention the person and give out the prize.
Let's get started.
So the person that got it from my own end is, just as the president of Korean said, is Consilia.
You're right, Ben. You're right. Consilia, yeah.
Amaka.
Good evening,
Consilia Amaka, please can you show us your face?
Oh, God.
Scroll. Okay, let's see her.
Consilia Amaka, please can you show us your face?
Sure,
so
sir.
Can we see you, Madam Consilia?
I'm excited.
Sorry, let me see your video. I can't see your video.
Okay.
Okay. She's there now.
Okay, I'm trying to.
Good evening, sir.
I'm trying to see her so I can pin her to the page. Okay, I think I've seen her. Okay. Okay, Engineer Consilia Amaka.
Sir, good evening, sir.
We say very big congratulations to you.
Thank you
have
so
won
much,
for
sir.
yourself this beautiful printer and this beautiful smartwatch.
Oh.
So you type in your phone number, you send me your number, and you will pick up your prize tomorrow. We say big congratulations to you, and to all the participants, we say a very big thank you for participating in today's program. And I want to inform us before we wrap it up, before we say final thank you to our guests, that the next edition will take place on the 7th of next month. And we have a very big fish also, Engineer Dr. Edet Amana, another first-class material in civil engineering and structures, to be precise, past president of the Academy of Engineering and past ACEM president. And on the 21st of April, we'll be having another big fish, Engineer Ebele Ofunne Amaka Okeke, former head of civil service of the Federation. Thank you very much. We say a very big thank you once again to Engineer Ahmed Kadi Amshi for being our host, our guest for today. Thank you very much, and to all the participants, do have a very wonderful evening. I remain yours sincerely, Engineer Ben, and it's my pleasure to sign off. Thank you, and have a very beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Love you.
Well done, and keep up with the good work. Madam, congratulations.
Thank you,
Congratulations, everyone. Amaka, go and enjoy your printer and your work.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy. The last time it was second position.
Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.